of Almost Well Versed. I know it's been a minute, I do apologize. And I'm sure you've also noticed no Cam. But you know what? You gotta make the content somehow, okay? We're still trying to get used to, I got a new job. Congrats to me. I'm trying to get used to that. And if I'm keeping it a hundo with you, we're looking kind of a mess right now. But, you know, the way you look doesn't matter because you gotta put the content out there, okay? So we're coming in today with a shorter episode, just a little catch-up episode. Talk about what I've been watching / reading right now. Hasn't been as much as usual, just because, like I said, I've been trying to get adjusted to this new job, and I picked two, the two books that I'm reading right now, they're both good, don't get me wrong, but, they're not lighthearted material, so, it's a slower read, you know what I mean? So, I'm not getting through them as fast as, regular books, but doesn't matter, whatever. We're here, we're going to chit-chat for a little bit, we're going to have a good time, and later this week, I'm going to actually record the episode with Daz that I know I've been teasing for 9 months now, but I promise you, we're going to sit down and record this episode, I swear. But yeah, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do just a little, I really, really did try to think of a witty title for what I want to call this episode, or even if it's going to be a recurring thing. But I think we're going to, tentative title is Currently Consuming. What I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, and that way I think it'll be fun, because that way it can be kind of a discussion. You guys can let me know what you're currently watching, reading, listening to, and that way we can kind of, get some recommendations from each other, and it can be an ongoing type thing. You know what I mean? So first up, we're going to talk about what I'm currently reading. And so, like I said, I usually don't do this. I just feel like being a crazy person right now. And so I'm reading 2 books at the same time, which maybe that's why I haven't finished either of them, because I keep flipping back and forth because I'm not committed to either one. But they're both good. They're just different. So one of them is a memoir, and then the other one is I guess it technically is nonfiction. Yeah, it is nonfiction. But anyway, so the first book that I'm reading actually on Kindle is called Token Black Girl, a memoir. And I think I've spoken on it before, but if you have Amazon Prime, you can get, you're eligible to get a free book a month. I think it's called Prime First or Prime First Reads, where every month, a book that is scheduled to come out that month, they give you the option of 1 book per genre, and then you can just pick 1 free book a month. So that's how I picked up this book. And, yeah, like I said, it's called Token Black Girl, a memoir, written by Danielle Prescott. And right off the bat, this title interested me because growing up, I guess you would say that I was the token black girl. And so I'm about halfway through this book, maybe a little bit more than halfway. And it's been an interesting experience because while our upbringings were similar but very different, our life trajectories were very different, but where we came from and how our childhood kind of was set up was very similar. So reading this book it's been an experience for sure, just talking about growing up being the only black girl, not even girl, but just being the only black person amongst your peers in your school. And so where my life kind of differs from Danielle Prescott is the way she grew up pretty affluent, definitely middle class. And so she went to prep schools, and then was in private school, and graduated from a small private school, and then ended up going to college to become a fashion designer or a fashion editor, which is not what my life was. But I can identify with her because in my younger years, in elementary school, I did go to a small private Christian school, and I was literally the only black girl in my class until, 2nd or 3rd grade, I think. And then there was 2 black girls, and we were the only black people, there, so like I said, it was a small private Christian school. So I think out of the, I don't know, sub 200 students in the whole school. I think by the time I left in 6th grade, I think our school had like 170, 180 kids, and that's pre-K to 8th grade. There was 4 black people, like 4 black kids, and that's it. So hearing her talk about these experiences and just being exposed to microaggressions and racism and things that, like, because you're a kid, so like you don't have the capacity to identify them as racism, or it's not until like upon later reflection that you would even like consider it being racist or, you know, being targeted by microaggressions. These things that you just wouldn't know because that's all you knew. So it's been a really reflective, I would say, experience reading this book. Granted, like I said, our life trajectories ended up being really different because she stayed in these small private prep schools through most of her adolescence, whereas like when I was in 7th grade, that's when we moved to North Carolina, and I was introduced to public school, which was like a whole thing. And for me, that was like culture shock, getting introduced to not just public school, but like how big it is and how racially diverse it was. Like it really was like a culture shock, and it took me a long time to get used to not being the only minority. But yeah, so I am actually really enjoying this book. Like I said, I think I'm maybe like 60% of the way through. I definitely plan on finishing it maybe this weekend. Because even though it is a memoir, it is an easy read, and it's one of those where it's like, because I have this self identity with it, it's really compelling to read. So I would say check it out. I think it's out now. I know it's on Kindle Unlimited for sure. Yeah, so it was published on October 1st. So yeah, it just came out. But yeah, so you can check it out on Kindle. That's how I'm reading it. But I'm really enjoying it. And then the other book that I'm reading at the same time is called Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. And so I was actually gifted this book by my brother and my sister-in-law when we were in England. And this one is also pretty neat. So like the title is Girl, Woman, Other, and it follows, it's like 21 like short stories that all are exploring different women in Britain. And so it's been a really interesting experience because the culture is so different from what I know, but then at the same time it's like you still identify with a lot of the things that people are going through. But the one thing, like, don't get me wrong, I am enjoying this book, but you have to like get your mind in different headspace because the way it's written is like almost like a poem, if that makes sense. Like there's not much punctuation in the book, and it's kind of written almost in prose, but then it's still a story, you know what I mean? So like you kind of have to like switch your brain to like follow what's really going on like while you're reading it. And then because it's following 21 different short stories, it's kind of like disjointed. And so like that's kind of like my one complaint about it, where it's like not one overarching story, it's a bunch of little stories. And I'm assuming that like as the book goes on, these characters, their paths will interconnect or whatever. But this one has been really interesting because like I was saying, where yeah, the culture is so different, and I'm sure like growing up as Black in Britain is a lot different than growing up in the United States. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this book yet. I maybe, dang, I should have grabbed it, but I think I maybe like 45-ish% through it. So I think I'm on the fourth, either the fourth or the fifth short story. And the thing is because it's kind of written as if it's supposed to be like a memoir, but I don't think it's based on real people. I think it is fiction. And so, yeah, it says right here, it is fiction. So it's hard to like really connect with the characters, if that makes sense, because it's so different from like what I know or like what I grew up with. like, it still is interesting, and I am still compelled to finish it. Like, I will finish it, but I don't have that same connection to the characters that I do, like, reading Token Black Girl. You know what I mean? So, like, it's taking a little bit longer to get through this book. I am enjoying it. I will finish it, but I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about that one. But a book that I did really enjoy is a book that I just finished. The book that I finished reading before I started reading these two books is another one that I got from that Amazon's First Read. And this book was called The Lobotomist's Wife by Samantha Green Woodruff. And that book I really enjoyed that book. So this one is neat because it's fiction. It's like historical fiction, but it's still loosely based on real events. And so if you can't tell by the title, it follows this lady. She's not a doctor, but the setup is her brother fought in World War I and came back with PTSD. And of course, this is like way before PTSD was like a recognized and diagnosable thing. But the brother came back from World War I with PTSD and ends up committing suicide. And then the main character, our protagonist, she is like, how would you call it? Like an administrative assistant for like a hospital. Like her parents started and fund this mental health hospital, and their whole idea is that they want to address mental health in a different, more compassionate way than what was being done at the time. Because I don't know if you're familiar at all with it, but I mean, mental health was not like widely, explored or treated the way it is now. Like, it's a really recent occurrence, like the way that we as a society like address mental health. It was not like that back in like the 30s and the 40s, right? So homegirl, she, like I said, she's an administrative assistant. She's like really high up, like helping to run the hospital. And of course she's like really invested in it because her brother, like literally she saw firsthand like how mental illness like affected her brother, right? And so the hospital ends up hiring this doctor who's like really progressive, and his whole thing is that he wants to like make his mark in like medical history, and he's really adamant about finding a new approach to helping mental health patients. And it's him and another guy are the ones that really come up with the idea for lobotomy. And the main character and him end up getting married. Like, they fall in love and they get married. And she's kind of like the forerunner with him on getting hospitals and everything to like adopt lobotomy as a treatment for mental health patients. And the book was really interesting because it starts before lobotomy was like even thought of, and then you literally follow the rise and fall of this practice. And it was just so neat because you're following her, like you're following, what's her name, Ruth. You're following Ruth the whole time, and you're so invested because you know that she has a good heart and she's coming from a good place, and like she wants to support her husband and the work that they're doing. But then when she starts to realize that what they're doing is not actually helping people, and it's up to her to like put her foot down and get the husband's medical license revoked, and having to like apologize to like hundreds of families for letting them perform this lobotomy that just like destroyed people's lives. Like, it was so, man, I think I really finished this book in like 3 days. It was a wild ride. And kind of like I was saying before, like it is fiction, but the doctor in the book, he's based on a real doctor. So like at the end of the book, the author talked about like where she got her inspiration from, and like places where she did her research and everything. And like, even though the story, The Lobotomist Wife, isn't exactly how lobotomy like came and went in medicine, it is pretty close and does take a lot of inspiration from what really happened. Yeah, this book was wild. It was just so compelling because you're just, like I said, you're just so invested in Ruth, and like you see how compassionate she is about like these mental health patients, and like really wanting to like make a difference and help help these people that like have actual issues, you know what I mean? And then wholeheartedly believing that they found this new life-changing cure, and then for that to just come crashing down on them, to be like, no, we're not helping people, like we're fucking up people, you know what I mean? Man, what a book. The crazy thing is I have it pulled up on Goodreads just so I could like, you know, tell you like the author and everything, but it's only got a 4.06, which, I mean, it is newer, so like maybe not so many people are reading it, but I really enjoyed it because, and I'm kind of flipping through the reviews where a lot of people are saying it starts slow and then gets better, which I mean I agree, but like it's one of those slow burns, you know what I mean? Like you have to really get invested in the main character Ruth to really feel the rise and the fall of her legacy, you know what I mean, with her in this hospital and her husband this, you know, trying to change lives, and then to realize that you're not, like, man, this book was great. I did really enjoy it. This one, like I said, this one I also read from the Kindle's first reads. So I know it's on Kindle Unlimited. You can read it for free that way. But you can definitely read it on Kindle. You could probably grab it on Amazon, you know. I would say if you're into historical fiction, check this one out. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was a quick read. Like I said, I think I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It wasn't that long. Definitely check it out. So that's what I've been reading, but I kind of want to talk about what I've been watching because I feel like this will be hot. I feel like a lot of people are watching this right now. So me and my husband, we are deep in the House of the Dragon. And man, let me tell you, this show, oh man. So, okay. So I was, past tense was, a huge Game of Thrones fan. Like, I read the books, I loved the show, I have a giant encyclopedia of like the history and everything of Game of Thrones. But then, just like a lot of fans, toward the later seasons, I really fell off, and like the writing just really turned me off, and just dumb decisions from the showrunners. And so when the show ended, it just left a really bad taste in my mouth, to where like I hadn't thought about Game of Thrones like a long time. So then when I heard that HBO was coming out with this House of the Dragon, I just really didn't know how to feel about it, because, you know, my heart was literally broken in two from the original Game of Thrones. I just didn't know if I could go through it again. But I knew that with this show, it was different showrunners, different writers. So I was like, you know, let's give it a chance. And I am hooked. Let me tell you, I am hooked. Because here's the thing. I'm like, to be such a big Game of Thrones fan, I don't know much about the nitty gritty of the lore leading up to it, like leading up to the events for Game of Thrones. Like, of course, you know about like the Targaryens or whatever, because with Daenerys, but like, I don't know the Targaryen family line or anything, you know what I mean? So like going into House of the Dragon, this is all new information for me. So it's like, yeah, I know house names, like, you know, you get introduced to like the Hand of the King, like being the High Castles. It's like, oh, I know who that is. Or they meet the Martells. It's like, oh, you know who that is. But like actually what happens and how, what's her name? Rhaena is supposed to be, no, Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is heir to the throne, and it's a big to-do because she's a woman, and Westeros has never had a woman queen. It's like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? So I have been really invested into that. And so we didn't see last week's episode. We just had a lot going on during the week, because we would usually, episodes premiere Sunday night, so we would usually watch them Monday nights. So we were a whole week behind, but then last night we watched, because what episode just came out? Is it episode 7? Let's see. House of the Dragon. Episode 8. Yeah, so episode 8 aired last night, and so we watched 7 and 8, and let me tell you, I don't know, because the thing is, man, like, well, if you're not caught up, skip this part, because we're going straight in, we're deep diving right into spoilers, because I just don't know what Rhaenyra is up to, bro. Like, I want to root for her. I want her to be queen. I want her to do good. You know what I mean? Like, all her dad wants is for her to have a good time, for her to be a queen, and for her kids to, like, be heirs to the throne after she ascends. But, like, she's just over here literally fucking up. Like, she's just fucking around. Like, she's got these 2 bastard kids, and, like, everybody's just, like, has to pretend that they're not bastards. And then how she's in love with her uncle. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, we were all exposed to incest with the original Game of Thrones with Jaime and with Cersei, which was gross because they were siblings. But I don't know, man. I just think it's worse. I just think it's so much worse that Daemon's her uncle. Like, oh, it's so gross. Because, like, if you remember a couple episodes ago at her wedding, and then he, like, pulled her aside on the dance floor, and then they, like, kissed or whatever, and I was like, this is just so, it's just so gross. And then in episode 7, where he comes back and Rhaenyra pretty much was just like, fuck my husband, like, I'm trying to marry you. And he was like, well, you can't marry me if your husband's still alive. And she's like, all right, bet. And so then they like staged his death. So, and then he, like, escaped Westeros, and then now she's married to her uncle, and they have 2 kids, and then she's pregnant with a 3rd kid. And I'm just like, oh, it's just so gross. Like, I want to cheer for Rhaenyra. Like, I want to, bro. But, like, she's just fucking up. So, I don't know. End of the episode. Bro, what's the dad's name? Viserys? Bro, he has been going through it. Like, I just feel like the Iron Throne is literally killing him. And I mean, it did. Like, he died at the end of the last episode. But, like, it was just like every episode, he just looked, like, exponentially worse. And, like, in this last episode, he looked like a skeleton up there. I was like, how is this our king? And so now we all can anticipate what's going to happen in this next episode, because he died. And one of the big antagonistic parts that happened in this episode was one of the Valyrians? One of the Valyrians came out and straight up said that Rhaenyra's kids were bastards and that he shouldn't inherit what is it called? He shouldn't inherit I really should have had this pulled up, huh? The issue is like, it's all these, like, similar sounding words. So, like, I want to make sure that I get it right. Yeah, whatever the hometown for the Valyrians. They want the dad. He got, like, mortally injured. So they need to figure out who's going to ascend. Oh, Lord of the Tides. There we go. Yeah, they're trying to figure out who's supposed to be Lord of the Tides, the commander of the world's largest sea fleet. And so, non-formally, he had talked about it with Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra was married to his son. So therefore, their kid, whoever was not going to be heir to the throne after she ascends, but the next son, he should be the one to become Lord of the Tides. But they had never, like, formally announced it. But now that he's, like, mortally injured and they don't know if he's going to live or not, they somehow started doing, like, a petition to see who is supposed to be Lord of the Tides. And so then Homeboy's brother said that he should, because he grew up there. He's, born and bred Valyrian. And then he's the one that came out and said, oh, yeah, Rhaenyra's got bastards. And then it became a whole thing. And, man, House of the Dragon is a mess. Like, it is a messy mess. Because Rhaenyra, she's a messy bitch, let me tell you. Oh, I just have the feeling. No spoilers, by the way, because I don't know what happens. Like I said, this is all new to me. Every week we tune in is new to me. Don't spoil me what happens. Who ends up being king or queen of Westeros. But I just low-key feel like she's not gonna be queen because she's just fucking up. Like she's just not doing great. And also what makes me kind of think that she's not gonna be queen is if you think about like where Game of Thrones was and how Daenerys was the last Targaryen. Her dad, what was her dad's name? Aemon? Something. They were the only Targaryens. You don't hear the name Valyrian anymore. So like somewhere down the line, the Valyrian bloodline had to have died off. And so I don't think she's gonna be queen, bro. I think she's fucking up. Like I don't want anything terribly bad to happen to her, but like it probably will. Cause I mean, come on, she's like fucking her uncle and has got 2 bastard kids. Like she's doing a lot, bro. Oh my gosh. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you're watching House of the Dragon, what do you think? Who do you think is gonna sit on the Iron Throne? I don't think it's gonna be Rhaenyra. But I also don't want it to be Alicent's kids because they're a bunch of douchebags, bro. They're all assholes. Homeboy with the one eye, he got the eye patch. She over here looking like a blonde Loki, looking like an asshole. Yeah, I don't like him. And then the other one is also an asshole over here talking to his cousin, talking about, oh, you know, you're about to get a wife. I hope you know how to use it. I hope you know how to like have sex. And he's like, bro, we're eating dinner. Like, can you chill? We're literally trying to eat dinner right now. Oh man. But yeah, so House of the Dragon, that's like the only show I'm really watching right now. I did just finish Demon Slayer season 2 though. That one's tricky. So it was always tricky trying to watch animes because my brother-in-law used to live with us. He recently moved out, and he is the king of starting a show but not finishing a show. So there was many a show that me and Anthony would be trying to watch, but then we would have to pause when he'd come out, you know, because of spoilers. And so Demon Slayer, that's a prime example. We got really deep in Demon Slayer. Actually, we saw all of season 1 and the movie with him, but he never got deep into season 2. And we were like at the end of season 2, so it was like scary business trying to watch that show when he was in the house, you know. But yeah, like I said, he recently moved out, so we finished Demon Slayer. And I didn't realize that I was like on the second to last episode. Like I didn't realize I was so close to the end. And man, I really am enjoying Demon Slayer. It's just so pretty. Like it's just so visually appealing. It just feels so good in my eyeballs, like when I watch the show. And the thing is, like, Tanjiro, he is the nicest guy. Like, he's the goodest guy. Like, you just want him to be good. And you just want him to succeed, you know? And, yeah, this season 2 arc, again, super spoilers. If you haven't seen season 2, go ahead and skip this. But what was it called? The red light district arc? Damn it. Why don't I ever have my notes pulled up, y'all, when I sit down to talk? What is it actually called? Because they were pretty much in the red light district. That's the thing. But I don't know if that's actually what it was called. Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, yeah, it was just crazy because through the whole thing of them trying to get out the demon and stuff that was there in the red light district, it was like the entire district got flattened. Like it just doesn't exist anymore. That shit was crazy. I was like, hell, like the red light district just doesn't exist anymore. And they had to fight an upper 6 demon. That was a whole thing. And then, but yo, let me tell you, my favorite thing about this arc is the fact that damn, what's his name? The annoying guy. Zenitsu? He is hands down, yeah. Zenitsu, he is hands down 1000% the most annoying character I've ever seen in any anime that I've ever watched. And so whenever he's on screen, I'm just like, ugh, here we go again. But they did great. They knew, the writers knew what was up because his whole thing is he's like a scrub, except for when he's sleeping. Like, he can, like, sleep fight, like sleepwalk, but like sleep fight. And so they literally had him sleepwalk fighting the entire time, and it was great. It was glorious. It was so good. I was like, man, we don't have to hear his annoying ass voice. And it literally wasn't until like the last 3 minutes of the last episode where you heard him talk for the first time. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I feel like I would like Demon Slayer a lot more. Like, it would be way higher on my list of favorite shows that I've seen if Zenitsu wasn't in the show. Because the story is so compelling. The characters are really compelling. Like, you want Tanjiro, you want him to succeed, you want to see him do good. Inosuke, great comic relief. Like, he's dumb, but like he's smart and strong, so like you fuck with him. And then the whole thing with like the Demon Slayers and everything, like the whole setup is so good and so interesting. It's just Zenitsu is so fucking annoying, where like if I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10, Zenitsu would bring it down to like a 7.5. Like, that's how bad he annoys me. Yeah, it's bad. But like I said, he was barely there, so the show was great. The visual effects were great. Tanjiro really got his ass kicked. Nezuko literally had to come and save his ass twice. And that's been really fun, like seeing Nezuko's blood demon art and like really experimenting with it and seeing all that she can do. So I always say I'm going to read manga and then I don't. Like, I used to really be into manga, but just like in later years, I just haven't really read it. Like that, I feel like Demon Slayer is one that I would want to read. Because like I said, I really am interested in seeing like what's up with Nezuko and seeing like where they take her powers and everything. But let's be honest, I probably won't read it. I'll probably just wait for the next season. But I am curious to see if they're going to do kind of like what they did for season 1, how there was the movie in between and the movie was canon. That was really neat because usually anime movies are not canon. So that was fun, that it was actually a canon movie. And then when season 2 started, referencing things that happened from the movie, I did like that. So yeah, Demon Slayer season 2, fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The main bad guys, the main demons, they were cool. How they were siblings, and then they were like, you had to kill both of them at the same time to kill them for real. Like, that was neat. But the thing I just really like about Demon Slayer is like, it just looks so good. Like, I just love the way it looks, the way it's animated, how it's kind of like the different art styles for like when they're fighting versus like the regular art style. Man, it's so my eyeballs love it. Let me tell you, my eyeballs love it. And then I think last on my list, we're just going to talk about it just a little bit. I promise, just a little bit, guys. Just a teeny, tiny bit. I have to talk about it. Paramore came out with a new song. I can't believe it. Can you? I can't. Paramore hasn't dropped, guys. After Laughter, their last album came out in 2017. It's been 5 years. Can you believe that? 5 years. Granted, there was like unofficial music. It wasn't proper Paramore music. Like I've said it before. Hayley Williams, she dropped 2 solo albums. So like I still got something, and like I love Hayley Williams. So like I really enjoy those albums. But like a proper Paramore album, it's been 5 years. Can you believe it? And so they're so good. They like on socials, like on Insta, and apparently there's a Discord. They have a Discord, and on Twitter they were like dropping really cryptic things, and everybody was like, "Hello." And so I follow a Paramore subreddit, and so I'm like watching weekly things, or like almost weekly, bi-weekly updates on the subreddit, where it's like, oh, they like changed their website, they changed their profile picture on all their socials, and I was like, oh, what is happening? What is happening? And then on their website, it was this really cryptic, it was just like a list of dates, and then, it was just really cryptic, and everyone's over here playing detective, trying to figure out what's going on. And then on September 28th, they dropped a single called This Is Why. And guys, it's so good. It's everything I ever wanted. They can do no wrong. So their new album won't come out until 2023. I think it comes out in February, but it's also called This Is Why. So this is like the self-titled song, and man, it's so good. And the thing that I really like about Paramore is, as you listen to the songs, like, and start really listening to the lyrics and letting it sink into your soul, the song really grows on you. So it's like the first time I heard it, I was like, because the thing is, you know, like with anything you love, it could be a series, it could be an artist, it could be a movie series or something. When you have that break in between and you build it up so high in your head and in your heart, and then when the thing actually comes out, and you're like, man, is this like me just hyping it up, or is this not living up to expectation? You know what I mean? And so I kind of had that feeling like that the first time I heard This Is Why. Because it was like, oh, you know, was this just something where you could tell that they wrote it like during the pandemic and then now it's just coming out now, or you know what I mean? But it wasn't until like I really sat down and like let it sit. Like I listened to it, I let it sit, revisited it, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And that's me trying to be partial. Yeah, I'm a huge Paramore fan, but like the music, like the instruments are so good. It wasn't until like I've been listening to Paramore for so long, but it wasn't until my brother-in-law pointed it out that like the drummer is always going crazy on like all these Paramore songs. And then you really sit there and you listen to the drummer and you're like, dang, he really is going crazy. And then like Haley's range, I feel like is only getting better with age, and the subject matter that they're talking about is just like so relevant to like what's going on right now. Man, it's so good, guys. Like, it was worth it. It was, yeah, I had to wait 5 years, but like it was worth it. If you haven't listened to it yet, there is they actually did drop a music video for it, so I would suggest go check that out on YouTube. The song is called This Is Why. I'm a little bummed that I have to wait till February for the album, but I'm hoping maybe they drop like one more single in between. But the only thing that makes me sad about that is I'm the kind where like I just try really hard not to over listen to singles, because then when the album comes out, it's like you've already heard that song so many times that you like feel compelled to skip it. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to listen to the song and enjoy it, but like I'm really trying to not overdo it, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping that they come out with another single between now and February. We'll see. But yeah, guys, that's what I've been currently consuming. I feel like we were a little bit all over the place, but what can you do? And yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought about this free form style. Like I didn't have a single note. The only notes I had were the titles of things that I wanted to talk about. Like this was really free form. Let me know, should I do these every now and then? This was kind of fun. The thing would be though, if I did them, they wouldn't be super often, because like it takes me a while to like start a new show or start a new book, you know what I mean? But like every now and then can just drop in and let you know what we're watching or reading. And like I said, I promise, guys, actual proper episode will be coming soon. Camera, we got a new office space, so we're working on getting that set up so it can look nice for recording. And I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.